Hello, everyone. Welcome to the vFairs Epic Events podcast. Today, I'm joined by Ben McCarthy, founder and director of Premier Events, a leading full-service event agency based in the UK with an annual turnover of around £10 million. Ben's journey in events started at university, where he turned a simple mobile disco into a thriving business. Over the last 20 years, he has built Premier Events into a global agency with more than 50 event professionals, offering everything from event management and AV production to creative content, studios, and in-house workshop capabilities. He is known for his speed, adaptability, and commitment to excellence in live, hybrid, and virtual events. I'm excited to dig deeper into his journey and hear his perspective on the future of events. Ben, welcome to the podcast. Ben, you started your journey at your university. Just walk us through that. What started that looks like a university project into this business that you have been running over the last 20 years?
Yeah, no worries. So before going to university, I was a bit of a bedroom DJ. So I had some really old rubbish turntables and I would do some bad mixing in my bedroom. I hadn't really thought about that as a business. And then when I went to university, they give you a student overdraft. So I got £1,000 overdraft and I'd never had £1,000 before. And I thought, what can I do with this? So about probably the fourth or fifth week at university, I decided I was going to spend it on a disco. I was doing a business studies degree, and part of my thought was, well, you're going to learn a business degree by running a business. So that kind of made sense. And also, I thought I'd rather go and do a disco than work behind a bar, for example. Yep. So I spent all £1,000 in one go. I went to the local disco shop and said, I knew nothing. I was a complete newbie at this, and said, I've got £1,000. What can I buy? And I walked away with like a twin CD player, a mixer, 2 speakers and 2 lights. And my initial thought was, if I do 10 discos at £100 each, I've broken even and everything else will be profit. 20 years later, I've ended up buying more speakers and more lights. And slowly started to make some profits.
So you started with that, and did you then advertise that you are into this business? Did you get some of that initial £100?
Yeah, no, we did. I did a mail shot. I still have the letter here somewhere, which I sent like an A4 letter with no graphics on or anything to 30, 40 primary schools and said, hi, my name's Ben. I'm new to the area. Do you need a disco? I do discos, basically. 2 or 3 of the schools reached out and said, well, yeah, we do need a disco. So we did. I was going doing children's parties for school discos for, I didn't get £100 initially, so it really wasn't very good, but I got £60. So £60 for 2 hours was still better than the £6 I would have got working behind a bar. So I was still loving life back then.
Perfect. And then you kept doing it. Well, you kind of finished your degree. What led this into starting Premier Events? Like, when did you kind of take that step?
So as I was doing university, I did 3 years at uni in Nottingham. And as I was doing uni, the discos I was getting were getting a bit bigger, and I was getting more and more of them. I was maybe up to £150, £200 an evening, which was really good. And I've had some like bar work in the week and some, like, I'd say weddings in the evening. There were weddings, but they were like the ropey weddings you get in a function room at a pub. They weren't the classy affairs that we went on to go and do. But that allowed us to finish uni and not need to go and get a full-time job. So I was able to get a part-time job, working nights on a Monday and a Tuesday evening to top up the income so I could then DJ full-time. And I did that for a good 5 or 6 years, really, out of uni.
Wow. And like, was there a particular contract that moved you towards a bit more towards the high end of doing this as a business? Like where did exactly that shift happen?
Yeah, so we ended up starting to get better, doing better job. I got better as a DJ. And then I built a website. I was one of the first people to build a website, because back then everyone just advertised in the yellow pages, which we did as well. But having a website was really crucial. It allowed us to get some bigger, better jobs. So we were then starting to get like £350 an evening, which was great. But we saw that there was a gap in the market for these dance floors. A new product came out. It was a twinkly dance floor, and no one was doing these twinkly dance floors. So I ended up spending quite a bit of money. I maxed out 5 credit cards buying these white twinkly dance floors,
Mhm,
and then started doing dance floor and DJ packages.
mhm,
And that kind of was our first step into becoming more of an AV production company.
mhm,
So we did another 5 or 6 years of being the dance floor people, the LED uplighting people. We started to stock chairs. And then from that, we had that fundamental bit in place. So we should then start to do a TV hire, a stage hire, and start slowly to get into that low end conference world, which
yeah,
was people ringing up to say, can I have 4 bits of stage,
mhm.
some uplighters, and a PA system?
And like, who was your first hire? And was it more of a hire or a contractor? Because like both of them have different type of responsibilities as an
Yeah,
employee.
absolutely. So when it was the disco days, the company was called Ben's Mobile Discos, and I had 3 or 4 other disco DJ guys that were working for me because we had so many inquiries come in. So
Mhm.
I would end up taking 3 or 4 bookings for a Saturday, but I
Yeah.
couldn't do them all personally. And
Mhm.
so I had like Andy and Nigel and Dave, these other DJs would work for me, and they would go and do the gigs for us, and I would make 50 quid commission. So
Mhm.
I kind of built that up slightly. But when it got to the whole, we had a load of dance floors and we were driving around doing dance floors, I needed a proper member of staff.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate to come across John. We met on like an internet forum, which is what you did kind of back in the day, really.
Yeah.
And it basically offered, he was 18, 19, and I offered him a job and said, do you want to come work for me full time? And that
Mhm.
was 15 years ago, and he's still with us now. So
Oh wow.
when he started, it was, I had a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
I had a bedroom, I had an office, he had an office, and all of the equipment, all the dance floors were stored in the garage downstairs. And we'd clean the dance floors on my kitchen table, which is
Interesting.
mental when you look back at it, really.
Yeah, that's pretty inspiring. Tell me, like, so John was your first hire. When did you get your first big contract, like more in thousands, right? Like 10,001, and how much time it took you to kind of reach your first $1 million in terms of revenue? Like, you are at 10 million pounds now.
Yeah, I'd have to look back. When we hit a million, it was probably 7 or 8 years ago. We hit a million. It was it's been slow but consistent growth every year,
Mhm.
and that's because we haven't ever had a sales team. There's nobody who's ever done any cold calling or going out to people to say, "Do you want to use us?" Everything has been slow and consistent and word of mouth based, really. So it's been a journey, but we ended up winning our first corporate client was, I think, 14 years ago now, and
Mhm.
it was they're a kitchen company in the UK, and we do
Mhm.
3 Christmas parties for them every year, and we still do them now. Which is, I love the fact we're still doing them now.
Yeah.
And what we do for them, their parties have grown as we've grown. The first job we did for them, it was me on my own with a van of stuff, and
Mhm.
now it can be 2 Arctics full of AV equipment, and a day to build it, a day for the show, and then pack it all down again. So the jobs have grown as we've grown as well, which has been quite nice.
Yeah. And walk me through, like, see, having that initial hires who are sitting right next to you, like, it's fun, it's tiring, hard work also a lot, but then growing into a team of almost 50 people, that's a lot for, how do you manage all of them? Like, are they all in office? Like, are some of them remote? Just walk us through, like, managing such a huge team at this
Y-
point.
And I think the way to think of it is almost in 2 steps. So 1 to 20 was really hard work
Mhm.
because we were still figuring out how good we were, what we were going to be doing, what the systems and the procedures are going to be. And everyone did everything. We had generalists almost, so a bit good at that, a bit good at that, but we all did everything basically. And once you got over a team of, say, roughly 20 people, you started to employ specialists. And
Mhm.
that's actually when life started to get a bit easier
Mhm.
because I wasn't so integral into everything. And we could let the people just focus on that, their specialism almost. And
Mhm.
that made it easier to scale. And then once it got to about 30, 35, again, that was another level of management came in, and
Mhm.
it made it even easier to run as a business because we've now got the money to employ really good people. Whereas in the early days, you'd employ your friends or you employ people you know
Yep.
who were good, but they're not the experts that we're now recruiting with years of experience. They were great people that were learning how to do a job, whereas we're now employing people who really are experts on what they do.
And when I want to double down on what you said, the kind of business events are in general, word of mouth matters a lot. It's
Yeah.
like, go to a wedding, people are like, okay, who is this DJ? Where the cake is from? Where the dress is from? Where the food is from? That's how you grow your business. Is that still the case now, or with AI and technology, etc., needs to change also of how you acquire new customers as well as retain existing ones? Just walk me through both.
I think it depends on the customer you're trying to attract.
Yeah.
So we work with one of the UK's biggest supermarkets, for example.
Mhm.
They aren't going online to search for event company Leicester.
Mhm.
They knew they needed to work with someone else, and they asked around. The CMO of that company asked her friend who was a CMO of another company, "Or who do you guys use? Are they good?"
Mhm.
Our name came up. We're now working with the supermarket. So at that level,
Mhm.
it's about relationships and it's about word of mouth and trust.
Yeah.
But we have another team, for example, which is it's called Prep. We have a team called Premier Connects. That is, or the wood shop, for example, is a really good example. The wood shop is selling products to other AV companies.
Mhm.
But that isn't about word of mouth and trust as much. That's about being on Google, running some LinkedIn ads, and making sure they're aware of our products.
Makes sense. And is there a point where some of these companies outgrow the vendor? Like they have become too big that they want to go ahead and, I don't know, sign up with like a really, really big event agency because, you never get asked if you're spending too much money with the
Yeah, yeah.
vendor or logo. How does that part work? Because I'm of the opinion that retaining customers in this business is the key. Keep on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've ended up doing over the years is our churn rate is really low. We might lose 5 in 100 customers in a year,
That's
normally
great.
because they aren't doing an event. It's very rare that we mess something up
Mhm.
and they don't come back, which is great. So for us, as long as we add 1 or 2 new big customers every year and
Mhm.
quite a number of smaller ones,
Mhm.
that's what's allowed us to grow year on year. So it's just a case of not messing it up, basically, because you are only as good as your last event. There's no contracts in place. There's no 3-year deals. There's no minimum spend amounts.
Yeah.
You mess a job up, you run the risk of losing the client.
And how were those COVID years? Because this is such a business that requires people to be just right next to each other.
Yeah. Traumatic is the summary. I had brown hair before COVID. It was then. It's COVID that sent me grey.
Yeah.
But we were a team of 35 going into COVID.
Mhm.
We were primarily a wedding and a party company. We did some corporate stuff, but mainly weddings. Many weddings are private. And that 2019 was the year we decided we weren't going to do weddings and private stuff anymore. We were going to only focus on our corporate work.
Mhm.
And we were probably 70% wedding and private. So it was a
Mhm.
big risky move to do. And COVID just accelerated that change. So we'd kind of made the decision we weren't going to do dance floors or chairs or furniture or table centers
Mhm.
anymore. We'd sold all of that equipment.
Mhm.
We'd had a big standard Confex in the February 2020. Thought, right, this is it. We're going to launch ourselves as this big AV production company with event management. And then COVID happened. And within 10 days, all of our clients phoned and cancelled every event that was in the diary for the year. So by the March, we had no work.
Mhm.
Everyone went on furlough. It lasted about 3 weeks. And myself, John and Francesca, two of the directors, kind of came back into work. And we had to start. We had a storage unit, so we cleared that out so we could give the keys back for that.
Mhm.
But crucially, we then started building TV studios.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, all the venues are closed. Brands still need to talk to their people.
Mhm.
So if we build a studio, they can come to us. And that's
Mhm.
what we did. And that's what kept us going through COVID, was having 2 TV studios and doing virtual events using
Wow.
vMix. Yeah, it was looking back, it was amazing what we managed to achieve in that
Yeah,
time. From not because I'm not a tech nerd, so
yeah,
I relied really heavily on John, who was our technical director, to make sure the tech worked, and Francesca, our creative director, who was thinking about like how the flow and what things look like on screen.
yeah.
And the three of us, yeah, we delivered some massive events.
Brilliant. No, purely, again, just looking back, how did virtual events then stay as one of your product line? Are you still doing virtual events, or after COVID, of course, everyone just doubled down on in-person events?
No,
Once.
we still are. What happened was we were doing some UK virtual events for, I probably can't say who they are. Let's say a fast food retailer.
Sure.
We're doing stuff in the UK for them, and their US global team saw what we were doing and kind of went, "Oh, you guys are really good at this compared to the Americans that we're working with.
Mhm.
So, do you want to come and do our virtual events as well?" So we now do, and we still do now, lots of global town halls
Mhm.
for this global company
Brilliant.
based out in America. Because actually, why send everyone to one location once a year when you can update them all on a really nice virtual call once every 3 months?
Makes sense.
Feels like a no-brainer.
100%. I think, you save a lot of money, you have the scale and everything else. It's just that sometimes people want to travel.
Yeah,
Not
they do. And
actual.
I think they want to travel, but also it's a budget comes into it as well because it's expensive. And
Extremely.
we're making so that it's not just another Teams call. We put it on a platform. We do lower thirds. It's all done in vMix. So it looks like a TV show. It's a production,
Mhm.
but they get to watch it at home.
When you mentioned Confex, like, is that something that you attend every year, and what are some of the other events that you as vendor would participate in, just to kind of get that word of mouth spread about what you guys have to offer?
To be honest with you, Convex and the event production show is
Okay.
really the only ones we've ever done. We did the Plaza show last year for the Premier Woodshop, but we haven't gone back there this year because the team were just too busy. They
Okay.
can't take on any more work at the minute. But yeah, next year we've booked a standard Confex, a standard event production show, and a standard the PA show, and we're
Mhm.
going to take different parts of our business to
Mhm.
each of the shows. But that is our only show that we will do in a 12-month period.
Interesting. And are you able to tie back the ROI on those participations? Because that's the hardest part,
Yeah,
like, do
complete
they work or
complete
not?
disaster to do. I have no idea,
Yeah.
but I do know that our existing clients do come and see us, so it's nice to. We'll have some beers on the stand, and people will come and grab a beer and have a chat.
Mhm.
We won a £250,000 job this year, and the guy who gave us that job spent probably an hour and a half at our stand.
Mhm.
So it's probably
Yeah.
you never know,
Yeah.
but it's really good for brand awareness. And I'm really conscious that lots of people see us online because we're quite good on LinkedIn, we're quite good at TikTok,
Yeah.
but people don't see us in person very often. So it's nice that people can walk past the stand and go, "You're the guys from TikTok," and we get that a lot at that kind of event. So it's great for brand awareness.
So LinkedIn, I know very, very thoroughly about. I'm also very active on LinkedIn. TikTok, tell me a bit more about it. Like, how does that part work to get the brand awareness? How do you target people over there? I have
Yeah,
not used.
it's fun. We really enjoy doing TikTok. I'm seeing it a lot as an investment in future Premier because
Mhm.
all the people who are on there, historically, you say that it's younger people and it will age up, but
Yeah.
it's already aged up. So people are 30, 40, 50 and now on TikTok. But
Mhm.
there's not many people on TikTok doing what we do.
Mhm.
And because we've been doing it for 2 or 3 years now, we're actually quite good at it. Like, we're not brilliant, but we've built a following of, I don't know, 8,500 people
Wow.
on TikTok. So, and we can see 50,000 people can see a video we post. We did in the last couple of weeks, we've done one that's done 50,000, one that's done 20 odd thousand. So the reach is really good. And you never know where that conversation's going to go.
Sure.
But I know I have my own TikTok as well. if I post things about the wood shop, for example, if I post a video that says, oh, here's a stack of event set panels that we made, which are about to get shipped out to a customer, we can get 2 or 3 orders in the next week or so for event set panels. And you
Interesting.
can see a correlation between us posting about a product and then
Mhm.
people buying it, which is really encouraging.
And what would you suggest the type of content that should go on TikTok? Because let's say on LinkedIn, right? It's about thought leadership content.
Yep.
It's more about text stuff. Sometimes maybe even a bit of video, etc. But TikTok, I'm assuming it's all about videos, right? So
Yeah, it's all about video. And look, I use TikTok a lot for getting better at doing video,
okay.
because when I first started, I was rubbish at making videos.
Mhm.
But you can practice on TikTok, and if it's not very good, no one sees it
Yep.
because the algorithm works that way. So actually, you can make 15, 20 videos, and if they're useless, you get some really good feedback because only 200 people see them.
Yeah.
And when you start getting better at it, that's when the engagement grows, and you start getting that feedback. Oh, that's a good video. I might do more like that going forwards. And I now take the best videos that perform on TikTok and post those on my LinkedIn as well.
Interesting. Interesting. What about Instagram then? Because I always thought Instagram and TikTok are kind of the same when it comes to something like this.
Yeah, they're both quite video focused now because
Yeah.
Instagram Reels is really taking off. We tend to post the same stuff on TikTok as we do on Instagram. It's just seen by different people.
Mhm.
Because generally people will say, I watch my short videos, and either watch it on YouTube Short or on TikTok or on Instagram. So that same video, we just post it to all 3 places, which it's a win really, because it's the same content. If it
Effort.
doesn't like it, it just doesn't get shown to anyone.
So I'm assuming it's all organic views that you're getting. Have you tried the paid stuff with any of these mediums?
So yeah, we started doing some paid stuff with LinkedIn in the last 6 months or so.
Mhm.
And it's been really, really good actually. What we've learned is that
The video side, like on LinkedIn, is it more on the content or on the video?
it's on the video and the static.
Okay.
But what we're doing is I'm posting things as organic content. We're seeing what performs the best, and we're taking the best performing content and turning that into ads,
Makes sense.
because the engagement's already good on it. Because it's grown organically, you know that people are engaging with it, they're watching it, and then you turn that into an ad. So your cost per click goes a lot lower because it's good quality content.
Sure.
So we're doing that as a strategy, really, which has worked quite well.
Yeah, and I have heard the same thing where brands they're using the founder brand more
Yeah.
because that always it's coming from a human rather than like a logo, and then
Yeah.
people
People
relate
buy
to
for
that.
people.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, Anything with AI? So it looks like you're of course on social, which I think in today's world matters a lot for a business like ours. But what about AI? Like, are you using AI service level within a company?
Yeah. So where we're at with AI at the minute is I'm trying to make it so that we can do the work of 60 people
Mhm.
with 50 people. That's what we're working towards. So I've got a huge list of the guys keep sending me of jobs that they are doing, which they think are boring. And then we are autonomizing that really. So it's a case of find boring, rubbishy jobs and then automate it. So, for example, we did the other week, I walked into the office, and one of the girls was going to spend her day taking, instead of 1,000 people to go through, it was, this is my postcode, this is the venue postcode. And she needed to know how far away each person lived from the venue, because
Mhm.
if you lived over 3 hours away, you got free accommodation. So they were going to do that manually, and we've been doing it manually for years.
Mhm.
So we now have some Python code written. You
Mhm.
paste all your data into a spreadsheet. It goes into a Google Maps API and pulls all that data back.
Yeah.
So what would take a day and a half now takes 10 minutes. So we're doing that kind of job just to streamline everybody's day. And we're kind of working on, if you had an assistant that
Mhm.
you'd like to give that job to,
Yep.
let us know what that job is and we'll automate it.
Interesting. Then just going back to the events, whether it's conflicts or any
Mm.
other. What's your take on swags? Do you think swags work? Do you think it does not work?
So we gave away for the wood shop at the event production show last year. Instead of giving business cards away, we gave coasters with our logo on a website.
Mhm.
I thought that was all right. But in terms of like a pen or a notebook, I'm not convinced.
Mhm.
I think I'd rather do something more memorable. I think that's the way forward. I think it depends as well, like how much people like the brand. So
Yeah.
we have a couple of clients who give away swag to all their people who come to an event,
Mhm.
but it's a cool brand and it's cool swag, and people absolutely love it. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to walk around Confex and go, "Oh, I've got a pen from X supplier." I'm not sure that's up.
Yeah.
I've never looked through old business cards that I've taken from an event and gone, "Oh, I must remember to look at that."
Yeah. No, I agree.
And maybe it used to work, but I think I'd much rather have a really engaging exhibition stand that
Yeah.
people go, "Oh God, do you remember that stand?" I think I'd rather have that.
Then what are the plans for the next 3 to 5 years? You guys are doing absolutely amazing within your home turf. You have, of course, some exposure to North American customers, but the idea is just to stay local, be big over there, or
Yeah, I think it's a case of be big in the UK,
yeah,
but we are finding without trying that we are doing stuff globally. Like I've got 3 people on a plane. They took off 2 hours ago to go to New York for a product launch. We're managing a product launch in New York on Wednesday this week.
interesting.
I've got someone else in Florida doing some filming for an upcoming virtual event. So we've flown 2 people actually over to Florida to meet the client, to film some skits, which will feature in a virtual event we're doing in October. So we are doing international stuff without really,
Yeah,
there's no page on our website that says we do international events. We're just getting asked to do it. And the answer is always just, yeah, of course we can.
yeah. And tell me a bit more on like when you get these international kind of assignments, how do you manage the shipment of the hardware, or do you get the hardware from that?
So yeah, so we're doing this New York event we're doing today. We're working with a local print company, a local
Oh,
graphic company, a
mhm.
local AV company,
Okay,
and we're just kind of managing that.
makes sense.
So the client trusts us,
Mhm.
and it's our job to make sure that we choose the correct suppliers
Yeah,
and then really strictly manage them to make sure they don't do anything stupid.
yeah. Because I've seen like shipment is just such a huge expense, and then like you don't even know what will happen to the equipment itself. So I just find it a bit stressful when any shipment is going from one country to another.
Yeah, absolutely. So we try and ship as little as possible. Like we might take some small items of print if it's a last minute print run,
Yeah,
but we build an exhibition every year for a pharmaceutical company, and we get built in America.
yeah,
We get video calls from our exhibition stand contractor over there. They're saying, "Well, we're going to do this. Do you want 3 mil Fomex or 5 mil Fomex and stuff?" So we are all over the detail,
yeah,
but it's just a case of making sure they don't do anything that they don't get lazy
yeah.
and cut corners and do everything the standard that we want it to be at, because the standard of exhibitions in America is lower than the standard of exhibitions in the UK, which
Yeah.
is probably why we get asked to manage it.
One thing stressful I just find about the role and the industry is that there's just no room for error.
No.
Like like it's not like a website launch, or if I'm unable to launch it today, I can launch it tomorrow. I know
Yeah,
it's a hassle internally, but you can always there's nothing that can go wrong in this kind of business. If you have a family issue going on, if you have something personal going on, like
yeah,
something is going to happen on the same day, exactly the same time.
yeah.
And there's no how do you go about that? Like, are there usually backups of backups?
Yeah, in AV world, we try and have a backup of most of the key items, but it comes to a point of where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
So, for example, we will do, let's say you've got 1,000 person conference, you might have 4 laptops doing the PowerPoint. So, a main and a backup, and then a main and a backup with the videos on. And then that's going to go into a projector, which might have 4 bulbs.
Mhm.
And so if a bulb goes, there's always a backup in there.
Mhm.
But it's running off one cable
Yeah.
to go from the switcher to the projector. So it
Yeah.
needs, there's always a weak point in there.
Mhm.
But I guess it's a case of I kind of work on the assumption of, if you are using the most premium kit that is suitable for the event,
Mhm.
it's been tested, it's been cleaned, it's been checked, you've done a rehearsal day, you've ran everything in, that should work. And if anything random does go wrong, then unfortunately, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
But really, it's very rare for stuff to go wrong on a live show
Okay.
that's massively noticeable. There'll
Yeah.
be bits that might happen behind the scenes. You might have a laptop go, for example, but that's why you have a spare laptop and you have a seamless switcher that switches from one to the other. Or you
Yeah.
might get some mic interference on a channel, but you
Yeah.
have spare mics ready to go, or you just retune it on the spot. So stuff does happen all the time,
Yeah.
but it's a case of trying to hide as much of that as possible
Mhm.
so that the client doesn't know about it.
Ben, clearly you have done so many things correct to lead the business to where it is today. But if you just want to go back and, figure out, okay, I wish I should have done this thing differently or that one differently, maybe it would have a bit of a different impact into the business. It's easier to look back into the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think for me, probably get more experienced, better people
Yeah.
sooner. Because if I know the most about what's going on, that's a bad place to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm not an expert at this.
Yeah.
I know enough about all of the departments to do a fine-ish job. Apart from woodwork, I can't do anything to do with woodwork. We had that company for 2 years before, and I went the day we bought it, and I went a couple of the times in that 2-year period, but I just never went because
Mhm.
I don't know how to do chiseling or nail guns or whatever they do, CNCing. So for me, it's been about employing people who are experts at what they do. And I should have done that sooner, but you don't know what you don't know. There's
Fair.
no there's no training course for this kind of stuff.
Sure.
There's no book that says you want to take a disco and make it into a £10 million agency,
I
then
know.
do this. You wing it and you make mistakes and you have to go, okay, well that didn't work. We'll try something else.
Absolutely. Ben, thank you so much for your time. For the people who want to connect with you, want to learn a bit more about Premier Events, how can they best reach out to you?
Yeah, probably LinkedIn is where I'm probably the most active. LinkedIn or TikTok. So it's Ben the Event Guy on TikTok, or just Ben McCarthy Premier Events on LinkedIn, where my thought leader posts will be arriving shortly.
And you have convinced me to join TikTok now. I'm going to download TikTok and, follow Ben over there. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining in. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. If you haven't subscribed to vFairs Epic Events podcast, please already do. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Ben.
Brilliant.